Hey, happy Friday, everyone, and happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. I just want to do a little intro here. We've got the video that's following this is actually an interview with Will Pena down in Tucson, just before we did the little woodworking kind of seminar demo thing for the woodworking group down there. So hope you guys enjoy this, but it's kind of random clips, so I wanted to put an intro on the front of it just kind of let you guys know. I kind of picked clips, little pieces of clips that I thought was the most kind of pertinent to what you might want. So hope this works out. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you Monday morning on Coffee and Questions. Bye-bye. Yeah, well, you've already, see, she just did. We're like filming right now. Right? Yeah. Welcome to my world. Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday morning. We are in Tucson, Arizona with my buddy, Will Pena. Will, you can say hi.
Good morning, everybody.
And we come down we're kind of, before this woodworking group starts, we're going to kind of do a demo.
We're desert woodworkers of Southern Arizona.
Right. Tucson, Southern Arizona. Yeah. So we just thought we'd do a little kind of an interview thing here, and I want Will to kind of tell his story about how he found us and, you know, what he's doing now and that kind of thing. So I'm going to just shut up and let him talk.
Well, you know, yeah, as I was telling Eric before, you know, I really wasn't even looking at getting into sign making, anything like that. I was going through YouTube channels, just kind of looking at joinery at the time. I was making boxes, things like that. So looking for just information on joinery, the different type of joineries, and your video just came across it, and I said, well, that looks pretty interesting, you know. So clicked on it, I watched it, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting, you know. Subscribed to the channel, went over and started seeing the rest of the channels there and the videos. So, you know, in looking at them, I was like, oh, you know, I just immediately got hooked on it. And then I guess I just kind of got really lucky in the sense that one of the videos that I saw, you were talking about doing a seminar.
Oh, okay.
You know, you were talking about the seminars that you were going to do, and I was thinking, well, you know, it's YouTube. This was probably done a while back. That seminar probably already happened.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I was like, well, maybe there'll be another one. And then I start looking at it, you know, more, and I'm like, you know what? That thing's coming up next month. I wonder if they have openings.
Oh, really? See, I never heard this. Yeah.
So that's when I emailed, as you put in the instructions there. I emailed, and sure enough, there was an opening still. I took it, and you know, the rest is pretty much.
Well, let's see some of your work. So how long you've been doing this then?
Well, I started. When was the seminar? It was about a year ago.
It was like October. It was October of 2016. So.
Okay, so probably.
A month or two
before that.
Okay,
yeah.
So yeah,
and really, I watched the videos for a couple of months before I even got the nerve to try it.
Yeah,
you know,
that's kind of common. A lot of guys do that.
You know, so I did my very first sign right before going to the.
Sorry about the wind, you guys. Sorry. There was no breeze when we started. Honest.
But I can hear fine.
Yeah, we can hear good. That's what counts.
Yeah. So you know, I started again. You know. Probably, I guess I was thinking it was a year ago, but I guess it's less.
Not even, probably September. Probably.
Yeah, so you know, I brought a few signs just to kind of show the progression of what, you know, of doing it consistently. Because I know a lot of us, and you know, I'm part of a really cool Facebook group that really helps each other out, and so you see a lot of the you know, the newbies per se, you know, and I still consider myself a newbie. You know, I guess we all kind of do in there.
Yeah.
But. You know, and so this was one of the first signs that I made. I'm a huge Dodger fan, as most people already know. So I made this one here for myself. And back when I made it, I was thinking, oh, this is so cool. This came out awesome.
And it did, actually, looks, for just starting out. It came out really good.
Now I look at it and, you know, I mean, you know, I could see all the flaws in it. I could see even more so now.
Yeah.
Everybody still does that.
Yeah, so you know, I could see my lines are kind of shaky. You know, here I kind of messed up there, and you know, but you know, I was
Vin. That's Vin Scully.
That's Vin Scully. Yeah. That was his final.
Is that what it was?
His final year, so that's why I made that one. you know, a few months later, you know, I made myself another one, which was this one here. And you can see definitely the lines are, you know, a little bit more crisp.
Yep.
You know, I did the flat
bottom.
bottoms in there, you know, and, you know, that came out, you know, a lot nicer.
Yes, it did.
You know,
definitely.
And you know, and this is kind of where it's come to now. You know, right now, you know, this is the latest one that I've done.
Check that out.
You know, and you can see just the
Look
difference
at the
in type
detail
of sign
in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom. So yeah, I mean, you can definitely see the details on it. You know, the different type of
edging,
borders, the edging that I've used on it.
And kind of tortured. This is still the cedar, right?
Still the cedar,
still the cedar board, fencing. Yeah.
And you know,
but those letters are like what, maybe 1/4 inch?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Those are just tiny, stinking letters. Yeah, they're like less than 1/4 inch. Yeah. Woo, that's some tiny stuff.
Yeah. So you know, I just kind of wanted to show those just so that you know, some of the you could see that, you know, how you start, and you know, and the signs just keep, you know, they keep getting better, and you know, as you're doing them, you know, as you know, when you do them, you can always see your imperfections. You know, other people won't. But you know, you could see them, and I could still see them in mine. But you know, when you look at, you put the signs side by side that you've done in the past, you know, you can really see.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And that will keep growing as you grow. And the cool thing is, especially with this Facebook group, there's so many creative people that they're doing so many cool stuff. It just kind of expands your idea. Once you got a hand with that router and you can hold that line, then it's like the world is you know, your oyster, I guess. But there's so many different things you can do. Then it's just coming up with imagination and coming up with stuff. Great stuff, my friend. Great stuff.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and thank you guys, obviously, because you know, had I not come across the you know, the videos there, you know, I'd still probably be working on my first box.
Well, no, that was and the reason I like to do this is because people want to hear from somebody other than me. And you know, if it's not Vicky, but we can't get Vicky in front of the camera that often. But that video she did the other day.
Should we put her on right now?
Yeah, no. I think we should just swing the camera around. Being, you saw what she kind of jumped in front of.
There she is.
There she is. There she is. Looking beautiful as always. All right, so we'll shut this down, and I don't know, we'll throw this in, and you guys will see soon. We're getting ready to do this woodwork group and do a demo, and Vicky's going to be running around with the camera. So thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks again, my friend.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. We're going to have a blast.
Thank you guys for coming. It's awesome.
Oh, we're going to have a blast. So we'll see you soon, guys. Bye. It's actually a spray stencil ink. This isn't paint, this is an ink. And most people have never heard of spray stencil ink. But this is what we started with, that we've been using since the 70s, since the beginning. If you use paint, like a regular paint, our experience tells us, especially if you're using pine, not as much on the cedar, but if you use paint, you got two different problems with that. Number one, paint what we call bleeds into the grain of the board, and you can't sand it out, especially if you spray it very heavy. And the other thing is, it tends to gum up on sanding belts. Some of you may have experienced different sources. There's a place online. This actually is getting kind of warm. I can see it's getting.
You can do a Google search for Marsh ink. And several places to sell it.
You can get on Amazon.
In about 6 different colors. It's called Marsh.
Marsh, yeah.
This one I actually get on Amazon.
Yeah, you can get it on
runs
Amazon.
$4.45 if you got Prime. If you're a Prime member for Amazon, it's free shipping on it. There is a.
You didn't bring the black Rust-Oleum then?
No, I didn't bring the black Rust-Oleum.
There's also another product, one other product that's made by Rust-Oleum. This isn't it, but the can looks kind of like this, and it says primer on it. You can get it at Walmart. $2 or $3 a can, and it's the only other spray product that I found that works as well as the ink. If you don't want to do that, you can just run down to Walmart and get the primer. The rest, again, we've got lots of videos on that too.
Black, gray, you use the black?
I use the black. I use the black. Yeah, because we use, for this layout, I'll use the same spray for the background. So this ink will do, this is what I call the layout, and then once the carving is done, then we spray it again, and I use either the ink or that primer, same thing. So if you wanted white primer, you could if you wanted a white background, but it doesn't cover real well. It's not near as well. So, all right, that's that. Did you bring a brush? Darn. See?
Let me take this sign for instance here. You know, when I cut it out, you know, I'm at a certain depth on there. But when I'm going to do the clean out, like on this one, I use the flat. That is, you know, I need to change the bit on that. So, but I want to make sure I keep the same depth on it. Otherwise, you'll be able to see that in there. You know, you'll see like a little step on there. It's just the wrong, you know, the wrong size on there. So, you know, I like to use this for that reason, to keep it. And usually where I'm at is just right above 1/8 is what I'm usually.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, where I usually go on.
This is a router bit depth gauge, in case, so you can put this on your deal and it'll tell you how deep that, up to 1/4 of an inch, how deep that router bit is. That looks like it's what, just a little under 1/4. It's just about 3/16, something like that. Yeah. And it looks about right. I'll adjust it as I go. Thank you, Dad. If you turn your head sideways, I'll see if I can.
Oh, you hit my eye.
We do that all the time. Yeah, we live dangerously. All right, let's see if we can pull this off. This bench is, table's kind of.
It's on low.
What, the speed?
No, the bench.
Yeah, it's a little bit lower. I like my bench top right about even with mid-chest. That's kind of where I like it. So this is a little bit low, but we'll make it work. Yeah? I knew he was going to be here. That's the reason yeah. All right, let's see what we can do here. So you guys, aren't I plugged in? No, I'm not. Good idea. It'll work better that way. We must be filming again. Yeah, of course. All right.
What magnification on those lenses?
Coke bottle. I'm not sure. They're about that thick. I don't know. It's just, some guy gave them to me.
That's a nice set. I wish I had a pair like that.
Yeah, you used to until you gave them to me. You ain't getting them back now. All right, here we go. So you guys, if you guys want to, you know, come around the table, if you want to see, it's not going to bother me at all. You know, it makes no difference to me one way or the other. If you guys kind of want to see what I'm doing, after I get done with a little bit, I'll stand it up. But this one I'm going to cut inset, kind of like the welcome that he's got there on the SpongeBob sign. That's still maybe a little deep. So that's what I do as far as kind of, I'm going around all the way around the inside of that deal, and that leaves this stuff in there, that meat. When we take that out, that's what we call cleanup or background. This will be the same texture as what will be around these letters. I'm not
behind you too, son.
Oh, sorry guys, I didn't even know you were there. It's like I don't have any resistance, so it's really hard to hold a line because it's like you're cutting through marshmallow. Sometimes it cuts that good. Just depends. Every board is different. You guys know every board's a little bit different, but it cuts really well. Yeah, it cuts really well.
Screw up and just start over?
Yeah, fireplace. You know, I've always got lots of fuel for the fireplace, no doubt. But so what I'll do now is I'll change bits and I'll go to the background bit where I'll unplug. I'll be safe.
I'm sure you always do that at home.
Absolutely, every time. I shut the power off to the whole shop. Yeah, that's what I do.
The background bit of flat bottom?
It isn't. It is a 90-degree V-groove. Here, just a 90-degree two-fluted V-groove bit.
Is that the one you just used?
No, the one I just used was a V-groove bit. What'd I do with it? Did you put it back?
Is it more like a point?
Yeah, it comes down to more of a point. This is a 15-degree angle, and then at the bottom it's a 45. Again, that's one Dad designed. This one he didn't design. It's just my favorite bit that I've ever found for doing the background. So see, it's just a 45-degree, quarter-inch width all the way, and then 90-degree actually at the bottom, 45, 90. Yeah. So I'll just stick that in there. Now this background, you can do it lots of different ways and you can get different looks, different textures. I know on a lot of stuff that Will has done here, he's using a different bit that is a flat bottom, and that's what this bit here is. This bit is a spiral upcut, cuts a flat bottom, so this is probably the one that you used for your flat bottom there.
I use that one a lot, and then for the smaller spaces I use this little one here.
And that's a flat bottom as well, yeah, little tiny thing, yeah.
Yeah, to get into some of the tighter spots there.
Now, did you say you regrind your bits, or is there a source to get?
Well, fortunately, again, Dad was a machinist, so he taught me early on. We have a diamond wheel, so we touch up and sharpen all the bits that we use. Now, that wouldn't include that little one that will, but all the ones that I'm using here, the profile, the 60, the 90, all the ones that we sell, that we use, we just touch them up. They get dull, we just touch them up. And then we offer that service to our students if they need it done. They don't have a machine shop nearby or have the expertise to sharpen them, we do that too. That's a service that we do.
Was there a website, or was there?
Yeah, there's a website.
Cards right here.
Yeah, there's cards right back there. And it's on there. It's makeawoodsign.com.
Sharpen bits for people.
Yes, as long as they're the bits that we use. Correct. That's exactly right. Yeah, we do. All right, let's do some background here. So I'll do this cowboy first. And I'm going to set it again. It's probably somewhere around 1/4 inch, something like that. Now in here, there's some pretty tight spots, and you guys probably noticed when I did some, I kind of maneuver the base sometimes, and I'll lift out it when I get into a real tight spot, and I'll be doing that same thing here. So that's kind of how I get that little texture in there. That texture really is just the leftover wood that I don't take out when I'm using that V-groove. That's all it is. And depending on how I move the router, that's the texture that it leaves. So then the main thing that you want to make sure of when you're doing this is that you don't leave any high spots. And what I mean by that, like there's a little tiny piece right here that if we don't take that down, when we go to sand off the surface, it'll end up being a little white spot. There's ways to fix that, but so I always try and take down the, oh, there you go, that's what I was looking for. So I always try and just take down the little high spots. That's a little bit different than what I use, but okay. Now, so let's do some background here. Now, the way I normally do it, like what Dad has done here, is just a little cloud. That's really all there is to it. Oh, I left it. Jeez.
You're good.
Sorry, man. Sorry about that. So that's really all there is to it. It's just the wood that's left in there. Again, with this, one of the reasons I really like this is because you can do different variations of this. Let's say you want something that kind of emulates a sandblasted sign, which you guys have all seen tons of sandblasted signs. If you go all vertical lines, you can draw them, or you can just Anyway, that's just another way to do it, where you can get kind of a sandblasted type effect. You can do all vertical lines, you can do diagonals, you can do up and down. Just so many different things that you can do that can give you the idea or just different patterns. But that, in essence, that's all there is to it, guys. And then from there, then we spray it black, and then we sand it off, and that's how you end up with black down in the groove. But that's, you know, we can do that. But it's
White on top.
What's that?
How do you get the white on the letter?
This is just an enamel. You just brush it on with a brush, just an enamel on top. We do it, you can do a lot of different ways, but the way I found that works best is this white is the last process. So we put we use right now Helmsman spar urethane for the finish, and then just paint the surface of the letters. Painting the surface of outside letters is so much easier than if you were going to try and paint inside down in inset. Oh, that's a bear. You don't want to do that. But painting a surface like that, it's fairly simple to do. There's a lot of different products you can use for it, but if you put spar urethane on top of white letters, what happens is it turns it yellow because of the amber color of the finish, you know, like any kind of urethane. But yes, sir.
So without laminating wood, how do you get the dark letters with the white surface?
Without laminating wood.
Well, you've got the dark colors there. Is that painted?
Yeah, no, this is what we would do now. Yeah, what we would do now, and I can do it. I normally have a stiff bristle brush. My next process, if this was all carved now, my next process, other than the edge, if this was all carved, I would take a real stiff bristle brush, not a wire brush, but like a, you know, like you would scrub the floor with or something, and I would scrub all of this to get all the loose stuff out of there. But once that's done, let's just assume I did that. Once that's done, then you take this black spray and you spray down in the groove. Boom. That's dry in a couple minutes. Then you take your belt sander and you sand off the surface. Then everything down in the groove is black. That's really how it's done. It's one of the things that I learned is this stuff is kind of needs to be almost temperature controlled. So in the summertime, I keep it in a refrigerator, and it works much better. The black Rust-Oleum, I don't think on that stuff it's near as important as on the ink, because what happens is this stuff gets warm. Number one, it comes out much faster, more pressure in the can, and it almost is powdery. And that's what happened here, is some of that stuff wasn't mixed up well, and it was a little warm, and it ends up being powdery. That's why I don't have a real, and I was being careful not to spray anything I didn't want to. That's why my lines aren't as sharp as they would have been had this stuff been kind of a little bit cooler and shook up a little bit better. But spray paint.
Can I see your set of bits?
Yeah.
Then you finish it with
I use a couple different things. I like Krylon Crystal Clear. Will likes this stuff. I haven't used this stuff.
I like it.
Is this what you're?
That's what's on my side.
Yeah. So you know, just a clear.
like Rust-Oleum.
Yeah, that's a Rust-Oleum Clear, and it works real well. I like the Krylon Crystal Clear. If I know something's going in extreme weather, like back east, or even in the real hot, I know it's going to be in the sun all the time. It's not going to be indoors. Helmsman spar urethane, I like that. Sir?
The base plates, do you make them for the Colt palm router also?
The Colt? Yeah, we do. Yeah, the little Bosch Colt. We have 5 different versions of this. For this, and the Porter Cable version of this is the Porter Cable 450. It's identical. If you guys didn't know, this base is interchangeable between the Porter Cable 450 and the 611. So that same base would work on either one of those. And then we have the Makita palm, the Bosch Colt, and the Rigid, and now we've added the Drill Master, the Harbor Freight's little tiny $25 Drill Master.
So your edges on yours there, is that paint? The edges?
Yeah, well, it's either, depends what I have on hand at the house, so it's either the Marsh ink or the other.
Yeah.
But that's black paint.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's either the ink or the
ink or that primer.
That Rust-Oleum primer, yeah.
Preferred wood.
My favorite really is this, is the cedar. It really is. I carved redwood for years when Dad started. All we did was redwood. Of course, then everything was old growth redwood. You guys remember, you know, redwood was cheap. They were building houses out of redwood. Redwood was everywhere. But then, and I was even doing it once, you know, up till about probably 7, 8, 9 years ago. I was still kind of stuck on redwood. But I wanted to find something else that was cheaper because redwood was so stinking expensive. And I was up in Oatman, you know, carving signs on site, selling 30 or 40 signs a day. I was making pretty good money, but my material cost was just outrageous. So I saw this cedar fencing and I thought, I doubt it. I don't think it'll work. But I bought a piece of it and started playing with it. There's certain things you got to do, surface it. It already starts really thin. But what I found, and I sold thousands of signs up in Oatman, not one person ever said, well, that's kind of thin, isn't it? Not one ever. If you have a good carving on your sign, they don't give a rip how thin it is. They don't care.